that we had the original M Short himself come into the chat.
I think we are live, by the way. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to League of Europe. We are here for Season 5. It is Round 3 of the Championship as we take on the Canadian Grand Prix from the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. My name is James Head, and I'll be taking you through the stream, as always, on a Saturday night. And joining me in the commentary box, of course, it is Mr. Daniel Field. Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing brilliant tonight, James. I was doubts that I would even be here because I was having issues with PlayStation Plus, but a bit of a saving angel came to the rescue. So I am here today. I've got a month's PlayStation Plus subscription, so I should be here guaranteed for the next couple of weeks. But Canada tonight, a very interesting circuit. A lot of guys will struggle with the penalties, I think, around here.
Yeah, it is a really tight-knit track, of course, made around an island, and it is an actual street circuit. It's not really classed as a street circuit, but it actually is a street circuit, and is built on that island around the lake, of course, and hemmed in by all of the trees. We have got 18 drivers currently here. To talk you through what happened last week, though, it was an absolute monumental race out on track, and taking you into the championship standings straight away, M Short and D Daniel are tied for the lead of the championship on 37 points. If you told me that Verstappen would be in third in the championship running in 26 points after 2 races, I would have laughed. Jose Sass is in 4th on 19, Zhao Zhao in 5th on 18, Alpha Trix in 6th on 15, and then we've got a tie for 7th with Lando, Montana and Bolin all on 10 points. Kazizel in 10th on 9, and then Name Changer and Connor on 8 and 6 respectively in 11th and 12th. 13th is Rocco on 5, Neo also on 5, tied for 13th, for Schiaparelli in 15th on 2, and Hardy in 16th on 1. Kuka Games, Cohen, Campbell and Toxic haven't picked up any points. Neither is Vaporizer, of course, because he ran in race 1 in Austria. Looking at the championship, the constructor standings as well, very close between Racing Point and McLaren at the top. 47 points for Racing Point leading the way, with McLaren in 2nd on 42. Alfa Romeo 3rd on 28, with Renault in 4th on 26. Aston Martin in 5th on 21, with Williams in 6th on 19. AlphaTauri in 7th on 11. The Mercedes in 8th on 11 as well. Ferrari in 9th on 8, and Haas in 10th on 5. And coming into tonight, Dan, both M Short and D Daniel tied for the championship lead. You might have heard our conversation right at the start of the stream where he was going to mention M Short Original, his father, of course, in the comment section last week. But his son is doing a fantastic job, and he's tied for the lead with D Daniel.
Absolutely, he pulled out an astonishing performance last week in Britain. It was a brilliant race that we had at the Silverstone circuit, but it was really lovely to see M Short's dad coming into the chat and just really supporting his son in league racing. It's so nice to see that it is really a big thing for the family to be supporting M Short in his race, and I really hope he can have a really good one today. But realistically, this is going to be the breaker between D Daniel and M Short at the moment. Who would have thought these two would be leading the championship? Montana's not even stepped on the podium yet, and he's a 2-time League of Europe defending champion, so it's really been a bit of a silly season so far.
It has been a bit of a silly season so far, and yeah, Montana, as you mentioned, 2-time champion, but all the way down in tied for 8th, I think, in the championship, which is absolutely unbelievable. But this track will really spread the men from the boys. They will really determine the men from the boys. It is Canada, of course, and this track is a real good, cracking track to drive around, and of course it is steeped in a lot of history with the Wall of Champion chicane, of course. Hill, Schumacher and Villeneuve all crashing at the same weekend in 1996, I believe, and that's why it gets coined the Wall of Champions chicane, because of course all of them were champions in their own right in Formula 1. Here we are then, we better get going in towards qualifying, and Canada is one of those tracks where the drivers absolutely hate because of the penalties and the invalidations that they'll pick up during qualifying, but I've got to be honest, I would absolutely love to commentate around this track, and we are tonight, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many places to actually try and make a move and have some really, really great battles. We're looking at sub 70-second laps around the circuit. It's a super short lap. That's going to mean for more laps in the race. We're looking at a two-stop. I'd expect today a soft, medium to medium. The mediums can go about half distance in the race, 17 laps, and then they're completely done. So you do have to balance it with the soft because you are mandated to use two sets of compound of tyres. Sorry. So it'll be interesting to see the strategies coming to this race. I'd expect if you're outside the top 10, you won't be starting on the softs. You'll probably be gambling for the mediums and then going on the softs right at the very end.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we see this session here in qualifying drive it down in towards the medium runners rather than the soft runners. I think we'll begin to see an early sign of where these guys are going to fall in terms of the pecking order tonight. It is bone dry out on track, which I'm really glad to report. I'm immediately going to go to Montana, expecting them to be first out on track. And as I say, this is the track that really can separate the men from the boys. M Short at the top of the standings with D Daniel. I don't think they'll be there after tonight, actually. I think Alphatrix might have a good night. I think Montana might have a good night. And honestly, it is separating the men from the boys. And look at who the first man is out on track. It is not Montana. It is Mr. Kuka Games. Kuka Games coming out on top in the race out of the pit lane. And he, if I'm not mistaken, is either 8th or 9th in the world around here.
So this really could be a bit of an ace-up of Kuka Games' sleeves in this one. So he's just coming off on his outlap, and we get a little bit of a kind of a slower run of this circuit. So many fast corners that they take, and then really, really slow chicanes like this one here. We have to be so careful on the power and on the because if you're on a fast lap and you just get a little bit too aggressive on the throttle, you could be going into a spin without even touching the wall, just completely ruining your lap, and you'll have to go again. So it's really going to be difficult for these guys to navigate around this circuit to absolute perfection. It's kind of an easy track to drive, but it's really difficult to master.
It is really difficult to master, and Kuka Games will be the first to try and tame the beast of the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. Of course, first Grand Prix held here in 1978. 35 laps awaiting the drivers out on track. It's a 4.3 kilometre circuit with 152.6 kilometres in race distance. Lap record around here held by Valtteri Bottas, a 1:13 flat in 2019. Of course, there was no 2020 renewal because of the coronavirus pandemic. Kuka Games then across the line to start us off on a lap, and let's see what the former Division 2 champion can do. He now comes through turn 1 and then through turn 2 at the Ireland hairpin, and now runs up towards turn number 3, and then through the tricky right and left combination through the first chicane, through turn 4, very, very close to the wall. He was millimetres apart from there, as he's an 18.9 through the first sector, so Kuka Games going really good. As he now approaches the second chicane, now into the middle sector, and then toward the third chicane out on track, which is Pont de la Concorde, as now we come down in toward the Pont d'Azil of the chicane, and now runs through here, through turns 8, and then through turn 9, and then comes up towards the fearsome turn 10. Lepingle is the real name of this corner, as it now comes up towards the hairpin. 40.2 from Kuka Games now comes down towards turn 11, and then through turn 12. Yelp just in front of him out on track, preparing up for a lap, as now Kuka Games runs towards the final couple of corners at the Wall of Champion chicane. It is just known as a chicane on the track map, but it is the Wall of Champion chicane. Breaks just after 100, carries a lot of speed through there and clips the wall on the exit, but very good lap time this from Kuka Games. Goes a 107.9. I'm expecting Montana to go possibly quicker than him on this lap. Comes across the line, and he does by 0.3 of a second. Montana out on top, Kuka Games in second, and that's your early laps, as we are expecting quite a few to come across the line.
Yeah, that was a really, really strong run from both drivers there. You do have to hand it to Montana. Over a one lap, he can do some damage. I believe that Bolin is next up to cross the line in that Alfa Romeo car. He's going to go behind Kuka Games with a 108.0. Rocco's also just finished up on a lap. He's done a 107.9. Look how close he is behind Kuka Games. That's about 0.6 of a second between it. M Short doing all he can to really fight with Montana, but he just can't get close enough, as Verstappen, interestingly enough, going on the medium tyres. I don't think he'll be in the top 10 with that one, but Campbell also on that same compound, 0.4 faster than his teammates, so they seem to all be finishing up on their runs, but I'm noticing a lot of invalidations around here.
Yeah, Neo on a good lap as well, goes 5th with a 107.9, so good lap from the McLaren man. The German, of course, there in 5th, his teammate there, M. Short, who, as you say, completed the lap at 107.6 for M. Short, the current championship leader, joint with this man here. And I'll go on board with him now, D. Daniel, as he's actually straightened back into the pit lane because he's invalidated his lap. That's absolutely typical when I try to go on board with a driver of stature. D. Daniel back into the pit lane and he's invalidated his lap as Zhao Zhao goes through with a 107.7.
Yeah, Zhao Zhao definitely has some unquestionable pace, but I believe Di Daniel actually made a pretty big mistake on his actual first run, where he invalidated this lap and next lap, and that meant he couldn't even try for a second attempt. They're still just finishing up on their runs. I believe that Just Asas is the next one to actually begin a lap. I'm on board with Kazizel. He looked pretty strong through the first sector. Could be around about where Cookie Games is, because they pretty much set an identical first sector, but oh dear. That has not gone well for Kazizel. I wasn't looking in the top right of my screen to really see his Delta. Hardy with a really impressive run there. He had a terrible race last week in Britain, but he goes into 3rd position. 2 laps put on those tyres though, so maybe it could be a sign that it's just a little bit quicker to put some wear on the tyres before going for a proper fresh lap.
I think it is, to be honest, because the tyre wear around here is really, really high. It's about 5-6% a lap normally in the race. One board with Just Asas, the Lithuanian. I think he's honestly just on a bank lap here, because this middle sector is not representative at all. 42.6 through the middle sector, not representative now through at the top of the track at Lepingle through turn 10, and then through turn 11 on the run down towards turn 12, this little kink, and then down and towards 13 and 14. He has actually gone up into, or he did go up into 2nd for ERS, but I wonder if he's going to prepare for another lap. The answer is no.
Well, man who didn't do a good lap, who I thought was going to do one, now is really starting to push. It's Kazizel just about to cross the line now, and it's looking a lot stronger, and he goes into 2nd position. He is very, very close to the back of Montana. That's 500ths of a second back from the 2-time League of Europe Division 1 champion. I believe Name Changer was the only one on a lap as well, but unfortunately it seems he's invalidated on that lap. So I believe that the first run of laps really have come to a close, and now we're starting to see some drivers coming out on their out laps. Shuki Games, Verstappen, Yelp, they're all on out laps at the moment, and they'll be setting the second wave of laps really.
Name Changer is on a valid lap, by the way, 114.5 he goes, and now I think he goes for that tyre wear as he now runs in towards turn 1 and then through turn 2. Let's see what the Finn can do out on track. NSX Yelp, by the way, is his teammate tonight, just picked up on that, as now Name Changer flies through turn 3 and then through turn 4 and invalidates on the exit, so that is disappointing. He was 700ths up on his first sector. Anyways, I wonder if Name Changer will probably go for this lap and then just come into the pit lane as he fights and wrestles the car out of Pontezil at turn 7.
Yeah, it was unfortunate to make that invalidation, but so easy to do. I'm just looking at the cars behind him. He's got Toxic behind him, but someone else he has behind him is Connor, and Connor is on a push lap, and he's looking really strong through the first sector. We'll see what he does through the second sector, but he's lagging a bit over the circuit for me at the very least, and it's a 40.2 on this run. It shows up as purple on the track map, lopping up into the hairpin is Connor there. He's looking quite strong. He's just getting a little bit of heat into the tyres. Maybe he is backing off on this one, as I believe a lap has just been completed. Don't know by who actually. I believe it was Chapelele finishing up on his run. I'm not paying attention to the time screens, but here comes Connor now through the last couple of corners, through the chicane. He scrapes the wall ever so slightly, but now to cross the line, what has he done? It's a 107.5, and he's so close, 3,000ths behind Kazizel.
Yeah, good lap there from Connor, despite the lag issues on that lap that we had. But Connor going 3rd. M. Short is also on a lap, and he's 700ths up, coming through the middle sector. So let's see what the man can do. The current net championship leader with D. Daniel going into 6th position there. 2,000 of Hardy on his lap. So M. Short now running down in towards the final couple of corners, nearly halfway through qualifying. Montana on top, Kazizel 2nd, and then Connor in 3rd. But for how long? Because I think M. Short is on a really cracking lap here. Comes across the line, and he goes quickest. M. Short goes quickest for the 107.5 and goes 2500ths of a second ahead of Montana, but Montana is responding. He's already 800ths up through the middle sector. Let's see what the Swiss man can do. The defending 2-time League of Europe champion, 39.9 through the middle sector. He is 2/10ths up on this lap, and now he's got NSX Yelt to try and get out of the way. Really, really close actually on the exit now, running down into the wall of championship. They've got got yellow flags just in front of him, which is Name Changer, who I think is backed off on this lap. He doesn't want to get in the way. Does Name Changer? He's back into the pit lane. Montana then through the final couple of corners. This is a 107.2, I think, for Montana. Comes across the line. 107.4. I hyped him up a little bit too much there, as he lost a lot of time, actually, in that final sector.
I think that might have been just Name Changer putting him off ever so slightly. It wasn't a direct kind of impeding of Montana, but it was just enough so that he would have to kind of adjust his line a little bit. Maybe he was hesitant coming to the corner, but it's still an improvement. Ooh. And it's still a pole lap from him. But even Campbell, I didn't even notice Campbell. He went into 4th position at some point. Looked like he's either on another in lap or he's going for another one here. But he's just in the final sector. I'm trying to find anyone who could possibly be on a push lap here.
Zhao Zhao's on a good lap here. He's 39.9 through that middle sector. Now comes through the final couple of corners. Let's see what he can do. The Dane, can he put it on top? Possibly. Montana currently top, and he goes 7th. That's a respectful lap there by Zhao Zhao. But look at how close it is between Kazizel, Connor, and Zhao Zhao. 6,000th of a second, covering 3 drivers from 5th down to 7th. As the cloud begins to build over the circuit, which means these tyres are going to start running at a lower temperature, which means the drivers have got to get more heat into the tyres, as Montana has gone quickest with a 107.2. As I flicked on board with Hardy by mistake, who I thought was starting up on the lap, he hasn't. But Montana out on top, M Short in 2nd, Kuka Games in 3rd. This is really more of a wheel track than a pad track, I think, Canada, and Alpha Trix, his nearest rival normally, down in 11th position.
Yeah, it's not been a good qualifying so far for Alphatrix, currently sitting in the pit lane as Kazizel's just improved on a lap now, going into 2nd position. Still can't touch Montana. He's quite a ways back, actually, 1.5 tenths from the 2-time League of Europe Division 1 champion. So they've got a lot of catching up to do, and this is really a true form of Montana's pace. This is the Montana we know and we all well love, as Rocco's on a lap. He's invalidated. Alphatrix has left the session. Oh dear.
Yeah, Alphatrix leaving the session. We had a similar issue, I think, last week with Verstappen's connection. So hopefully it's nothing linked to that, because Kuka Games went out the session, and I think it was Lando, if I'm not mistaken, who went out the session last week as well. Rocco was on a lap. He's invalidated, though, on this one. He's currently 12th with a 107.905. Neo was also invalidated, and Chapelletti, I think, has started up on a lap. So let's see what the German can do as he now runs through turn 5 and then in towards Pont de la Concorde at turn 7. He's 800 up through the first sector, which is very good to see. Let's see what the AlphaTauri man can do as he now comes out of Pont de la Concorde and now runs down in towards Pont d'Azil at turn 9. This is turn 8 and then through turn 9 and then run up towards the chicane, and he's invalidated on the exit. Coming through there, and Chapelletti down in 14th position. Cannot catch a break. He was 500 down anyways, I think, on the lap. And now he will totally back out this lap and come back into the pit lane, one would imagine.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with Chapelletti. That just kind of shows how difficult it is on the pad. Chapelletti is on the pad. So, yeah, it's a really big struggle to get through some of these faster chicanes when you're just using the little thumbsticks there. It's quite difficult to do. Name Changer just in the just at the beginning of the 3rd sector. He's done a 44.4 through the 2nd sector. That's not a strong time in comparison to the rivals at the very top of the pecking order, but it still could be a semi-competitive lap. Could put him in the reaches of around about the top 10. We'll just have to see, as he's now just about to come to the final chicane. Easy place to validate, and that's exactly what he has done. So he's going to finish up on this one. We'll see what he would have done, and it would have been an 8.2, which wouldn't have put him higher than 17th.
Yeah, Name Changer, quite disappointing, I think, in terms of his pace currently. 114.5 obviously is his time currently, but that man there, who's in the pit lane, Montana, out on top from Kazizel in 2nd. M Short, I believe, has just started up on another lap. Let's see what he can do. Currently in 3rd, 107.5. I think, actually, he's just came off a lap, if I'm not mistaken, and didn't improve. So he'd be hoping to try and improve later on in the session, one would imagine, as now, with 4.5 minutes to go, just over, you're in the right spot, you're in the right place for Division 1 action. Montana out on top, Kazizel 2nd, M Short in 3rd position. But one thing to notice is about this qualifying session, look at how tight it is. Montana out on top by nearly a 10.5, or just over 10.5 from Kazizel. And then you've got M Short all the way down, pretty much to Toxic, covered by 5.5 tenths per second.
It's really crazy just how quick these guys can really keep up with each other. and how competitive they all are. Someone improving on a run at the moment is Just Asas. He's just under 2 cents up on his previous best, and it could maybe be another car to be in a little bit of a gaggle, kind of separated by just about a tenth of a second between M Short and Jiao Jiao. Speaking of Jiao Jiao, he's actually set the same lap time as D Daniel. Can Just Asas displace both of these two and get into the top 5? Well, just after C's, he's come through the final. He's taking that really nicely, and now taking the shortest run up to line. What's Just Asas going to do? He lost a bit of time in that third sector, unfortunately, and he could only best 9th position, which I believe only jumped up 1 position ahead of Hardy.
Yeah, Hardy as well was on a lap, but he's invalidated out on track, so the Mercedes man will be coming into the pit lane with his final run nigh on now, and the Red Bull out on track is Connor. He's trying to find out who's on a lap. Kuka Games, I think, is invalidated when he has just gone on to a run. So unfortunately for Kuka Games, he is now down in 4th position, invalidated with that lap, and now he's going to troop his way back into the pit lane. It's going to be quite tight, I think, on his end, actually, to get into the pit lane. He should be fine, I think, but it's going to be quite close.
He could probably push for 1 here. I'd expect him to possibly, yeah, I think he's probably going to try and go for a lap now. He's just getting a little bit of extra heat into the tyres, so I do think he will be pushing on that one. Interestingly enough, Connor was on an outlap, and he's actually come into the box. That might be his qualifying over. He's probably maybe trying to aim for outside that top 10 to go on the alternate strategy, which is quite powerful around here. But Cookie Games has just begun off on his lap, so this is really going to be the last of the final runs. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead to navigate through him, but if he can do that well, he'll really be in a prime position to set a good lap here.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he's got a bit of a clear track, because he absolutely skins the curve, coming through 4 and 5, and then through 6. That's Rocco to the left-hand side. He has lost time. He's only 600s down, though, through the first sector. It could have easily been a lot more, as he now comes out of Ponte la Concorde through 7, and then towards turn number 8 and 9 at Pont d'Azil, as now he comes down in towards turns 8 and 9, and then validates on his lap time, and that might be the last run that Kuka Games will get in this session. And unfortunately for him, he's invalidated on his lap. Somebody else that is on a lap is Chapelelli. He's through the middle sector, didn't catch his middle sector split. Let's see what the AlphaTauri man can do. 1.5 minutes left to go. Montana out on top, Cazizzel in second, and then Chapelelli in third. I think that's Montana coming to the line, actually, to finish off on a lap, as he doesn't improve. Does Montana, 107.2, currently his best time, as Chapelelli invalidates out the final corner, and I think he's just got a bit of wing damage there as well.
Yeah, that's going to put a swift end to his qualifying. An Alfa Romeo car just about to finish up on a run. It's IFR Bolin. He's in 15th at the moment with a 108.0. We'll see what he can do as the clock has now struck less than a minute. Yellow flags, which I believe is Chapelelli's car, stricken somewhere, but Bolin could only manage 700 quicker, and that puts him just ahead of Chapelelli, whose qualifying has been drawn to a close completely. So yeah, it seems like it's crunch time for these guys, and they've got to pull it out the bag.
Verstappen might be the one to watch, actually, as he now comes down in towards the final corner. He's 5.5 tenths up on this lap. From mediums, obviously, go switching on to a set of soft compound tyre. So let's see what the Dutchman can do. Through the wall of champion chicane, through 13 and 14. They're a bit wayward, but now he runs the line. Don't think this is going to threat, and he doesn't actually improve. He does improve on his lap time, but he doesn't improve his position, which is really disappointing. Toxic is through the middle sector, 200 up. Montana has not improved at this stage. Campbell has gone second, though, with a 107.299. I think we realised that right at the same time. M Short, I think, is out on track as well, and he's a 10th up, purple, in the middle sector. So let's see what M Short can do. Out on tracks, he now runs down. Well, the clock has now ran down to 0. Cazizzel is into the pit lane. He's invalidated on his lap. D Daniel is not improving either, so he can only manage as best as 6th. Cazizzel retires into the pit lane as well, but here comes M Short down in towards the final corner. Let's see what the Brit can do. Through the wall of champion chicane, rubs onto the curb. Is he going to try and challenge Montana? I don't think he will. M Short across the line. He only improves by 8 thousandths of a second in the end. Connor is on a good lap now, coming on the middle sector, as Campbell, Montana is also just ahead, and now Montana comes around the final couple of corners. Is he going to improve on a 107.2? He's set such a high bar so far in qualifying. Now runs to the line, and he does improve with a 107.1. Montana is out on top. Campbell is down on the lap time, but let's have a look at Connor. Comes across the line, he goes 4th. 107.467. Just ASAS is on the lap, I believe. He's invalidated though. Schiaparelli is done on the lap time as well. I think he's spun just at the hairpin, or he's going slow because of lack of fuel in that car. But that is the end of qualifying, and it is back to normal. Montana out on top by just over a tenth of a second. Campbell though in second, and Kazizel in third.
Yeah, that was a really impressive qualifying from both Campbell and Kazizel to put it ahead of some of the quicker guys in the division, especially Connor and M. Short, who were so close to them, but they were just able to find that little bit extra. I'm really impressed with Campbell, though. He was at 1.5 behind Montana, and when you consider Montana's pace, especially around a wheel circuit like Canada, it's a really do have to commend him for it. But all is now done and dusted for qualifying. They've got to turn their attention to the race, and if Montana can get a good start off the line, then he might be untouchable in this one.
Spag just put a comment in the chat. How many bottles? Question mark. Yes. Leave that for yourselves to decide on. To be honest, I think there will be bottles possibly out on track tonight, but Montana has not bottled qualifying certainly, and he is on top by a tenth of a second, as I say. So Montana right on top, Campbell in second, Kazizel in third, with Connor in fourth, M. Short in fifth. He's changed his flag actually, M. Short. Hardy in sixth with Kooky Games in 70, Daniel Lake, Jojo in ninth, and just ASAS rounding off the top 10. Alpha Trix is nearly 3 tenths off just ASAS in 11th, with Rocco in 12th, Neo, Bolin, and then Toxic round off the top 15, Schiaparelli, Verstappen, all 17 of them separated by 8.5 tenths of a second. Lando in 18th, Yelton 19th, and then Name Changer didn't get a respectful lapping at all. He is down right at the back of the field, and Ferrari's woes continue.
Yeah, they're locking out the 10th row of the grid, so not impressive from them. I believe Cohen didn't have a good race in Britain, and Yelt is unfortunately kind of carrying the same sort of momentum as Cohen did, so Ferrari just haven't got off the mark this season in Division 1. If I'm just quickly looking at the Team Championship, I believe that they're down in 9th position. They've only got 8 points in their name. They're only ahead of Haas. That looks a little bit suspicious with the clouds.
It does look a little bit suspicious, but even more so, Alphatrix is not on the list there to the right-hand side. So the Division 1 Season 3 champion of Alphatrix doesn't look like he is going to take his place here within the race, which is such a shame, I think, from his perspective, because he's been so competitive as of late. He qualified in 11th position, so was starting out the top 10, would have got a free compound choice, but it remains to be seen whether we're going to let him rejoin, whether we're going to have a restarted race. But I don't think we will. I think it's more of a disconnection on his end, and that's the trouble of home racing, I'm afraid, guys, because with 10 seconds to go, we better get going for this formation lap. And just to put it into perspective, Alphatrix was 11th, but the rest of the field behind him are now going to be up in position. But I think I can see a Red Bull, if I'm not mistaken, in that 11th grid slot. Let's have a look. Yeah, I could definitely see a Red Bull there in 11th position. And we'll confirm that. There's his car. So his car's there.
Yeah, so it does give him a chance to rejoin, but I think if he is able to rejoin, he can't do it during the formation lap, because that can cause issues, and it will also give him negative 273. I believe that is absolute zero, I think it's what it's referred to as in terms of the tyres, and it's also started him on the softs too, so yeah, being in one of the best positions, the poor man's pole of 11th position, as I believe J. Cole is the one that calls it that, unless it's you that I picked it up from. No, then it must be J. Cole who refers to it as the poor man's pole, where you can be really the best alternate strategy runner. Being on a set of softs is not what he would have wanted.
Yeah, his AI obviously going onto a set of soft compound tyres, even more so though, Yelt on a set of soft compound tyres, right down from 19th on the grid. What can he do possibly on those tyres? You'll have to wait and see. Thank you so much for tuning in for League of Europe Division 1 tonight. 23 of you in the chat I see. Hopefully everyone is doing well, and hopefully we're providing you that normality on your Saturday night, as now Montana already reaches down into the wall of Champion Chicane on this formation lap. We've got half the grid up towards the hairpin pretty much, but Montana, very, very interesting to see. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, Dan, before we cut to the race start. One, What's the tyre strategy around here, and are they going to get to the end of the race if they go one stop? And two, who's your top three?
Right, so I think the tyres strategy is going to be a soft to medium to medium. I don't think a one-stop is possible if you're on the soft to hard, otherwise it wouldn't really be beneficial. Medium to hard can work, I'd assume. It probably definitely would, actually. And my top three, I'm going to say Montana wins this race. I think Connor will come in second and M Short in third. I'm going for a little bit of a more safe one tonight.
Very safe one, if I've got to be honest. The sun tries to break through here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. We are just moments away from the race starting here in League of Europe Division 1. Hopefully it's going to be a first time start as well, and hopefully we get no glitches, as... That was weird. The lights have changed, and now 5 red lights are out here in Division 1. And it's lights down, away we go. Campbell gets a really good start off the line. He could challenge, actually. Montana down in towards turn 1. That is a shocking camera angle to go off. But Campbell's around the outside. And Campbell takes the lead. Coming through turn 1. Then through turn 2. Trying to find where he is. We've got a graphic switch on the left-hand side. But Campbell is through. The Scotsman leads in Canada. And that is phenomenal. He got a really good start. And Campbell now through into the lead of the race. There's a little bit of scrummaging further down the field. But Campbell must be about 5 tenths through Montana, coming through the first sector for the first time. Campbell then leads for Montana in second, Kazizel third, M Short in fourth, with Connor in fifth. A side by side possibly between Zhao Zhao, D Daniel just in behind as well. But what a start by Campbell. He's got away. The timings have glitched to the left hand side, but I would say that's at least a 5/10 gap he's got.
Absolutely played to perfection by Campbell there. He's already stretching out just that little bit of a gap as Cookie Games going very deep into the hairpin. Might lose a position to Zhao Zhao, who's struggling behind him. That's side by side between Hardy and Zhao Zhao, sorry, as now coming down the straight. They're all over the place and it's manic with the timing screen. But here is Cookie Games. He just can't get the gap, and I believe Yelt's around, unfortunately. That's got to be on a little bit further than the exit, but coming across to begin lap number 2, it's Campbell leading from Montana. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Cookie Games run on the back of Connor, running down in towards turn 1 as well, but he nearly runs into the back of him, the Slovenian right on the back of the Brit. But now the timing glitches have fixed, and Campbell is out in front by 5 tenths of a second. Going to great guns out in front with Montana in second, Kazizel third, M Short in fourth. Looking further down the field, let's have a look at the position gains. Rocco has gained a couple of positions from the start. I can note 2 positions gained for him. Name changer up 3 up to 17, so a good start from him as well. But look at Cookie Games on the back of Connor. He has a right moment coming out of the Ponte la Concorde at turn 7, and then through towards turns 8 and 9 at the Ponte d'Azil, as Cookie Games is really struggling with that setup. And now he's got Zhao Zhao right onto the back of him as well. But I tell you what, Campbell got an initial good start, but Montana is right there and he's hassling the back of the Renault.
Yeah, he just really, he likes to do this, Montana. He's probably just playing with his food a little bit, let him get a little bit overconfident and then reel him in like a fish. You can see how much he's already gained on him. It looked like about a 5 to 6 tenths gap. Now it is almost down to 2 tenths. He's lost a bit through the chicane. I think he was a bit more lenient coming through the corner, but Campbell still leads from Montana, so it is not all hope lost. But now it's going to change for him, because the DRS has been enabled, and that means if you're within the 1 second of the car in front, you get to open up that little flap at the rear wing. It's a bit of a letterbox that you can see, and it will give you a little bit of drag reduction, and it will account for so much straight line speed, and Montana will be able to utilise it here coming out of the Comte de la Concorde, I think that's what it's called, chicane.
Place de la Concorde, yeah, you're right. Campbell leading the way from Montana in second, then Kazizel in third, and Kazizel's actually run wide there. Just picked up a little bit of a needing invalidation. Now M Short right on the back of him. The joint championship leader coming into tonight is going to try and go around the outside into Lapingle at turn 10. But he will try the switch back. The McLaren right on the back of the AlphaTauri. But now the Racing Point is on the back of Campbell. And look at this. This is absolute. He's just mocking him. Montana is through and he's into the lead of the race. How easy is that move by Montana? Campbell had absolutely no response to that, and running down in towards turn 1 as Connor and Cookie Games in fact comes into the pit lane. Connor in 5th then. Alphatrix has got a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Has he joined back, by the way, or is that his AI that's just picked that up? As now D Daniel runs with Hardy, we've done in towards turn 1, and D Daniel forces Hardy out wide and's got the move done. Surely as D Daniel is on the inside line, running up in towards 4 and 5, and D Daniel's through and he's up into 7th.
Hardy's still trying to put pressure onto the back of D. Daniel, now coming into one of the many chicanes. Hardy's just not going to have the opportunity to go for a move, but yeah, Alphatrix is back in the session. I don't believe he actually had wing damage. Cookie Games came in for a strategy change, early pit stop onto the medium tires for him, so I suspect it's quite a odd strategy, but you can probably make it on 2 sets of the medium tyres, so I guess it is just a huge undercut that he's going to be getting on his rivals here, as Campbell, you can already see how much time he's lost in comparison to Montana, what he was doing behind him. So yeah, 6.5 seconds, tenths between the pair of them. I'm fumbling my words like I always do. It looks like the closest gap on circuit at the moment is actually between D. Daniel and Hardy, and that's because D. Daniel has not got DRS to utilise down the straight. So here comes Hardy onto the back of D. Daniel. He's going to have to look to the outside into turn number 1. Who's going to be the braver on the brakes, and who's going to get the move? Is it going to be Hardy now on the inside? Chapelani retiring in the pit lane, unfortunately for him. I don't know why he's coming that early, but here it is. Hardy, he moves in front of him just before the braking zone, and that is a move for P7 on circuit ahead of D. Daniel. These two are going to be scrapping all night, I think.
Yeah, really impressive, I've got to say, from Hardy on that move, because D. Daniel did him the dirty, essentially, that lap ago, at the same point out on track through turn 2 and then up the run towards turns 3 and 4. D. Daniel, though, is now still trying to fight onto the back of the Mercedes, and these guys are just dropping away. They're 1.3 seconds off the back of Zhao Zhao, and they're just dropping away to that point, and Hardy now just about leading this. The medium runners, by the way, Rocco now leading in terms of the medium runners, both passes 9th and 10th currently. But it remains to be seen how everything is going to go. Penalty situation early on. Toxic has picked up a 3-second penalty. Alphatrix has picked up a 5-second for speeding into the pit lane. And then 3 seconds as well for just ASAS. Everyone in a bit of a DRS train as we see Zhao Zhao coming into the pit lane from 6th position. He may as well. He was in really clear air out on track relatively. And now Zhao Zhao will be hoping to try and undercut as D. Daniel tries to fight back at Hardy, running down in towards turn 1. But since Montana got the lead out in front at 7/10 of a second, Campbell drops about 9/10 back, but he's staying quite stagnant, I think, in terms of that gap. I've just said that though, and it's 9/10 as Alphatrix is retired coming into the pit lane.
It's not been a good start to the season. He picked up a podium last week in Britain, but that is now 2 out of 3 races where he's not scored points. So what has gone wrong for Alphatrix this season? He just does not seem to be hitting the hammer on the head. The top 5 at the moment breaking away from the pack. Zhao Zhao is struggling in comparison to them. Zhao Zhao's come out about 3 seconds back from Cookie Games, who's got that 2-lap undercut, so he's in a really strong position and could be in a place to challenge for the lead of the race in this DRS train. It's so difficult to make a move, but M. Short is just hounding the back of Kazizel here, but of course he cannot get close enough. Got a little bit more ERS, and there is the pit.
Oh, Montana's picked up a penalty! Montana's picked up a penalty, 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. How costly is that going to be for the championship, or the champion from last season and the 2-time champion in League of Europe? And now Montana into the pit lane. Not only that, I thought he got held up in the pit lane by Campbell there, but he hasn't. Montana then coming out of the pit lane. Eventually we will cut to the camera of him coming out of the pit lane. There's Cookie Games. I think he's going to come out just about in front. Montana then is still in the net lead of that race, but that 5-second penalty is going to come back to bite him as Toxic is round coming out of turn 4, and then through turn 5 he's got wing damage on the right side end plate.
I didn't quite see that, but I'd shoot through one of the chicanes and he might have just clattered the wall on the left hand side on the exit of Comte de la Cour, so that might be a bit more wing damage. We've got a terrible view of him, and it's actually put him on the other side of the front wing, so thank you Codemasters for that one. It doesn't look like he's got more damage on that left side, but that right side end plate damage really going to come back to bite him. He looked so strong last season, but he's not been able to pick a single point this season. This is certainly not going to help his case. In 11th position at the moment, he'll have to come into the pit lane and completely switch up the strategy to make anything work. And M. Short, Connor, D. Daniel and Hardy, all of the soft runners that we expected to be coming in have decided to stay out here.
Rocco had a right clash to the wall coming out of the wall of champion chicane. Luckily no damage, it was just a bit of a rub, but I thought that was a right side end plate damage all along. Toxic then into the pit lane, not only to repair his front wing, but to put on a fresh set of tyres. You would imagine he'll go on to another set of mediums, indeed he has, and the Haas now is in 17th position. Montana, by the way, not in traffic, he's 6.2 seconds off the back, but the magic gap that you've got to keep an eye on at this stage of the race is 13.2 seconds. That is the gap between M Short and Montana out on track. But I've got to be honest, Rocco really impressing me in terms of his pace now. Looks like we're seeing the switch between the mediums and the softs just in front. Connor's trying to hassle onto the back of M Short as Toxic picks up a 3-second penalty. That's his second of the night. But M Short leads, Connor second, D Daniel in third, Hardy in fourth. But how costly is that penalty going to be for Montana later on in the race? If you see Neil now right on the back of Rocco trying to chase down Hardy in all of this as well, we should see front two come in, but we're not. And now Connor right on the back for the race lead. M Short is going to have to put up a fight as now Connor switches to the inside line. M Short really should have cut to the inside line there to try and defend, but Connor, I don't think, has got the balls to go around the outside of him coming through turn 2 and remains in position.
That was a decent call from M Short to hold it there, because of course he would have had the inside line for turn number 2, and that has worked out a treat for him because it kind of put Connor off. And unfortunately, Alphatrix leading the session, he's a second driver to retire, the other being Chapelele, as Kazizel has just he's just gotten past Cookie Games, so who had such a big undercut, he's now losing positions with those slightly worn out tyres. 5 laps on this same set of medium tyres, whilst everyone else has been on the sack for 2 laps. Looks like the soft runners of I think it's just Hardy alone, is really beginning to hold up the train of the medium runners. Rocco is certainly going to be wanting to make a move very, very soon. We'll see him now utilising. He's got 100% battery to abuse on the straight, and here it is. This is absolutely going to be a murder, and I might have to phone the police on that one, because Rocco has moved up ahead of Hardy, and Hardy's trying to go back for the move. He went super deep on the brakes as Connor's now into the pit lane. That leaves only M Short and Hardy on the circuit on the same set of soft tyres that they start this race on, but Rocco is in a really strong position. He'll be able to go into another set of the medium tyres and then bang at the very end to go onto the softs and be in a prime position as the safety car is out. Just ASAS. And look at where M Short is.
M Short is pretty much on the other side of the track, and he's in the lead of the race. He's on a set of soft compound tyre. That might have just done him the world of good. I think Just ASAS has actually crashed on the exit of the final corner. It's not visible with the Yelt coming into the pit lane, as Yelt retires into the session as well. 3 drivers that have retired now coming into the pit lane. I can understand Alphatrix, but really, guys, come on. It's Division 1, for God's sake. You pick up points for the top 12. M Short out on top, though. Safety car has been deployed. He did crash Just ASAS on the exit of the final corner, and I'm assuming he's probably just got caught a little bit leery on the curb on the outside. It spun him and it's crashed him into the wall, and it's as simple as that. M Short, I think, though, is going to have to come into the pit lane. He has to come into the pit lane nonetheless, because the safety car is now out. Rocco and Hardy, I wonder what the medium runners do actually out on track. Rocco stays out, Hardy is in, Neil is in, Name Changer in, quite a few of the medium runners actually coming in, bar Rocco, he now leads the race.
I would have expected Rocco to come into the pit lane. All the medium runners had the same idea, aside from Rocco here.
The two Mercedes have been held up. Hardy is ready to go in his pit box, and Lando's been held up. Lando has been held up at least 10 or 15 seconds there. Look, the pit crew's not even ready for him. And this is such an absolute disaster for Lando. Toxic is already at the final corner, and Toxic now up to 13th. Cookie Games into 14th, and in fact, Zhao Zhao has also been held up in the pit lane by Bolin. So Zhao Zhao as well, really been affected by a double stacking strategy. Of course, they're going to be on the back of the safety car, but it puts you down the pecking order later on in the race. So that is why now, them two, I don't think have got a chance now to try and get a top 12. But then again, everything is said and done, anything could happen in Formula 1.
Yeah, well, judging by the fact that we've had 4 retirements in 11 laps, you might just need to finish the race and you can get points. This has happened before. I remember in a league on 2019, it's a long gone league. I believe it started with a grid of 20. It finished with 7 drivers. I was the lone commentator in that one, and that was not an enjoyable race for me just because of how boring it was. Everyone begun to split and separate after a while, but I think they kind of put a pin in it at the moment with this safety car. M Short has managed to come out in 4th position. Of course, that will be 3rd once Rocco comes into the pit lane to serve his first pit stop, which is mandatory to do. So it's not the lead, but it is a much better position that he would have been in without the safety car.
But he's gonna hold everyone up pretty much underneath the safety car. That's the thing. So Rocco's on 11 lap old mediums out on track. Montana and Campbell are on 5 lap old mediums, so they're gonna be about 25% better off in terms of the tyres out on track. Lando, by the way, as Toxic has actually cut turn 1. Not sure what happened there with Toxic, but he's cut turn 1 nonetheless. Lando is into the pit lane. He's just gone onto a set of medium compounder tyres. And he was on a set of hards. Very strange.
Those tyres won't get to the end. If you want to go to the end on a set of mediums, you have to pit at least lap 17 at the very earliest. So I don't know what he's thinking here, but maybe he just doesn't have faith in the hards being quick enough to be really competitive, or maybe it might have been advice from Hardy, his teammate. I don't know what Lando's done there. I guess he is in last position. This will probably mean the safety car stays out 1 more lap though. Yeah, it would have gotten to the point where the safety car would have come in. But yeah, Lando just kind of delaying the inevitable. Our safety car pulling in and we getting underway very soon. There's been a bit of contact down the order.
Right, so then plate damage.
Games. Oh, he's got damage. He must have gone into the back of Bolin there. I wonder if Bolin's got a penalty as well for that one.
Safety car's coming in. Safety car's in this lap, so Rocco is now the virtual safety car. That is super, super late. But we're going to be back in the way very soon, and now Rocco has got to back up the pack, and look at the strength of the field in behind. But Rocco now pulls it out of the final corner, now pulls away 0.5 of a second. Montana is in second, Campbell in third, and look at Kazizzle. Kazizzle's got a tremendous run on M Short. Is he going to dive it down the inside and towards turn 1? Use him as a bit of a breaking point. M Short forced him out wide, and now M Short back into 4th position, forces Kazizzle out onto the marbles, and that is great. And now Montana is through. I think Rocco let him through there. Now Montana leads the way. Rocco in second, Campbell in third. Tell you what, Campbell has got to get a bit of a shimmy on now because Rocco is in second position, just in front of him. The more that Rocco holds Campbell up, the more he's going to hold up this train, and the more Montana's going to pull away with that 5-second penalty.
Yeah, it looks like Rocco just pulled off to the side to let Montana through. It's probably cross-teaming to help the org that they're both a part of. Whilst it's not outlawed, it's not encouraged by the drivers. As now Campbell might be trying to go for a move into the hairpin. Has he got the move stuck? There it is, just a supreme grip of the tyres. And not the roadblock strategy for Rocco has not worked out. And M Short could also be in... Yeah, here he is now, coming around the outside. He might be able to try and get Campbell. It doesn't look like it. So Rocco dropping like an absolute stone in this one. He's now down into 4th position, and you'd expect Kazizzle and Connor to catch up to him very, very soon.
And Kazizzle now going through on Rocco. Yep,
Toxic's got damage. Oh dear.
Toxic's got damage further down.
He's smashed it into the pit lane wall, and somehow he's just picked up a little bit of end plate damage. He was sideways. And yeah, he's retiring. So he tried speeding into the pit lane, and he unfortunately couldn't get that.
That's a real shame, but now Connor right on the back of Rocco. I wonder if Rocco was going to let Connor through. Has Rocco got left side end plate damage, actually? Just picking up on that. No. I thought he had left side end plate damage. Might have been a winglet missing. But now Connor is going to be done. The dirty is now Rocco. Is now back and behind Connor as Connor is let through by Rocco, and now Rocco falling down the field. You would imagine, I think, he should have just came into the pit lane when, as now Name Changer's got a phenomenal run on D Daniel, and D Daniel, who's a joint championship leader, is going to be outdone by Name Changer. He could try and get 2 moves for 1 here, Name Changer, but D Daniel now on the outside line, Name Changer on the inside line, now on the outside line as we approach towards turn 14. Who's got the drag? Of course, there's no drag reduction system in operation for this lap around. It will be next time, but D Daniel just about has the legs, and Name Changer can only sit and wait for his opportunity to rise as Bollin, right on the back of Verstappen, nearly runs into the back, in fact, as Kazizel picks up a 3-second time penalty, with Hardy now on the back of Name Changer, going down in towards turn 1, Mercedes against Ferrari. They really need the points, both of these teams, as Hardy's got to hang this around the outside, surely not through turn 2, now through towards turn 3, and then towards turn 4. I think Name Changer's just about got this, and he has. Name Changer holds on to the position for 8th. Really stoic defensive driving there from Name Changer, and Hardy still on the back, but these guys are now getting held up by Rocco. Toxic leaves the session, and Bollin is round, I think. Well, Bollin's got damage, I think. He let through Zhao Zhao, but he's also let through Lando, as Daniel is now through on Rocco. Name Changer's going to try and come through on Rocco here as well. And honestly, the amount of action here is something you might get from a kettle or watching England play rugby.
Meanwhile, at the front, Montana's absolutely rocked away with it.
Kazizel's gone very deep there. Now Connor's going to get a run out. Now Connor's going to go side by side. Sorry to cut in, Dan, but now Connor goes side by side, and Campbell is now dropping away, and M Short is through, and he's up into second. I wonder if Campbell's got a little bit of damage actually on that car, as he now has been let through by M Short, and M Short through, he's up into second. XL and QVR working together in Division 1. Wouldn't have expected that in the slightest.
Campbell really would have had no answers. Hardy has managed to find a way past Rocco, coming to turn number 1, but Campbell had no answer for the DRS on the straight. It seems like he is struggling in comparison to M Short. M Short already bringing Montana in. He's now brought it down to 1.8 seconds. That's about 2/10 improvement on his fastest lap, and 2/10 in favour of Montana. So he's really doing the bits here is M Short, and he's already pulling out a pretty sizable gap to Campbell behind. Kazizel just losing touch with these guys in front could leave him at the mercy of Connor, who's right onto the back of him. He's using some of his overtake, could be sizing up a move for the hairpin. He'll have to go super late on the brakes, but he's not committed to that one. He's getting so close to the back of the AlphaTauri car. The sister teams, of course, Red Bull and AlphaTauri. This looks like it could be the move for Connor, because he's so close, hounding the rear of Kazizel. He's going to have to be committed if he wants to go for this one into the final chicane. I don't believe it. He's actually going to try for it. He backs out at the very last second. Yellow flags in sector 2. I believe that's Lando.
Just out the pit lane as well. Yeah, Lando's just came out the pit lane. He put on a set of hard compound tyres, and I was going to say, is he trying to do a Jenson Button possibly and try and pit in five times during the race and then have the wet conditions come out near the end? But now Connor is in 5th. Lando, so disappointing, I think, from his perspective, down in 15th position. I think his main challenge is going to be in Formula 2 this season, if I've got to be honest. But now Connor trying to get onto the back of Kazizel. Currently Montana leading, but M Short, Father Short there in the chat, of course, M Short now 1.3 seconds away from Montana. As long as he keep it within the white lines, I think he's on for the win here.
He certainly is, and he's got the fresher tyres. If these drivers wanted to pit, this would be the time. The window is kind of open at this point. This is lap 17, halfway point of the Grand Prix. Lando's out of the race now, 14 runners left.
Zhao Zhao down the inside, gets Rocco, I think, but Rocco's got the switch back, but now Zhao Zhao is through, and he's up into P10. Really good stuff there. Now Connor's going to have a go, Kazizel once again. Now this is the move for Connor. Now it's the move done, and Connor's through, and he's up into 4th as well, and now he can push on the back of Campbell, who's only 7/10 up the road.
Yeah, so Connor also getting the advantage of pitting under the safety car. That has helped him a treat. He's still struggling with the internet. I thought he was going straight off to the outside there and into the grass. So good thing that we haven't seen that from Connor. It's really unpredictable. It just looks like he's losing the car, but no, it's just connection issues. As I think that's Zhao Zhao or Bollin.
Bollin round, right side end plate damage. That wing plate is completely off on that car, so Bollin now becomes another one that has been cost because of damage coming out of turn 3. Clipped the right hand side end plate, so I'm guessing he spun coming out of turn 2, and then he's just clipped the car on the outside curb, and it's spun him round simply. As now Zhao Zhao right on the back of Neo is going to come under attack. The German from the Dane in behind, and the Dane will be hoping as Neo nearly doesn't pay attention there. I think he was going to go spearing off into the wall to the right hand side, but Neil needs to pay attention, I think, as now Connor right on the back of Campbell, and Connor is through. Lag jump or not, he is through, and he's up into 3rd.
His pace is undeniable at this point, as Zhao Zhao does get past Neo on the straight, struggling with those hard tyres. I think at this point, Rocco's going to come into the pits, so he took those tyres 18 laps in this Grand Prix, but it is time, or just about 18 laps, but it is time for him to box onto a set of hards I'd expect him to go, because the softs don't make it to the end, so softs. They surely can't go to the end. He's going to have to pit again at some point, as Bollin's also in for the softs too.
Well, his nearest rival's really Kuka Games out on track, so I can honestly see why he's done this, because he's going to pull away from Kuka Games in this period, and Rocco now is going to be pulling away from Kuka Games. Kuka Games there about 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds behind, coming out of the pit lane, but now Rocco is now on, possibly for that final point scoring position, and of course, fastest lap point. That's probably why he's came into the pitch for set of softs as well.
Oh, Connor's off! Connor's around! That's before the hairpin, but he's lost the car somewhere along the line.
Oh,
no, that is lag.
Disconnection.
Out.
Disconnection from Connor. It's absolutely disastrous. And D. Daniel, by the way, I think got through on Hardy and all of that as well. So D. Daniel now through and he's up into 7th. He's right on the back of Name Changer as well. Flies through the chicane and now the racing point on the back of the Ferrari. Is the Ferrari going to come under pressure? And is he going to come under attack? Yes, he is. Here comes D. Daniel down the inside line. Doesn't really commit it. Actually commits Name Changer in a bit of a mistake. Now runs around the outside of turn 2. Can he get the move done in car number 22? No, he can't. Name Changer hangs on in P6 for now. But Connor disconnecting out of the race. That is surely his points finish gone. And Rocco, I even back up the point now with what Rocco has done onto a set of soft compound tyres. Connor now going to drop his way down the field. Rocco's on for 11th now, out on track, and Kuka Games is on for 12th, as now M Short is within 6.5 tenths of the race lead.
I think it was the other way round, with D. Daniel actually losing the position to Name Changer, and that's why he was so close. He was right onto the back of Kazizel previously, but in all that with Connor losing connection, hopefully he does find a way to get back into the lobby. I think Name Changer must have saw an opportunity to get past, and now he'll be onto the back of Kazizel, who's not got DRS to Campbell in front of him, who's doing a stoic job in P3 in this race. But here comes the flying Finn from 20th on the grid. He's now up into 5th. He's not close enough. Kazizel coming into the pit lane. That's earlier than Montana and Campbell both.
I wonder if he's going to go onto a set of hards towards the end of the race. There is surely only one option for him to go onto a set of hards towards the end of the race. Set of mediums. Oh yeah, because he pitted softs, then mediums, then mediums. Yeah, that's totally fine. I thought he was going to go onto a set of hard compounded tyres, but there we are. Gary winning on Marcus. Marcus, of course, is M Short, and M Short is only 6 tenths off the race lead for the Excel man, right on the back of the current defending champion in League of Europe Division 1 in Montana. And Montana now is going to come under stoic pressure from the Brit in behind as he gets really out wide, coming out through the Pont d'Azil at turns 8 and 9, and then up toward La Bingle at turn 10. Montana, though, leading 6 tenths of a second, but M Short is just narrowing that gap, I would say. I don't think he's catching that much. He is catching, but he's not catching by a great deal. And Montana, I think, is just controlling this race from the front. Wouldn't be surprised, actually, if Montana comes into the pit lane possibly this lap around. In fact, he'll stay out. But I wouldn't be surprised if Montana comes into the pit lane and M Short just follows him in. As now D. Daniel right on the back of Name Changer for 4th once again.
Yeah, so coming up towards turn number 1, Name Changer without DRS
easy.
on Cameron in front of him. Easy as you like taking candy from a baby. But I'd expect M Short to probably stay out a little bit. I think he was probably lucky with the safety car coming in. He was able to be on those fresher tyres now, and the overcut really worked for him. I think at this point, on equal tyres, I could see Montana being quicker than M Short. As much as it pains me to say, I really wish we are able to get a battle between the pair of them. Maybe if he can just try and force him to stay out of the pit lane by going to his outside and then just completely cutting it off. That might be an option for him. We'll have to see what he tries to do, as Connor's managed to get back into the session, but his race is completely screwed over here. Now he's down in 9th position behind a hard runner of Neo, and he's got to pit again as well. Neo doesn't have to, as actually Verstappen's just got past his AI, so more woes and more troubles for Connor as M Short. Montana stays out.
Montana does stay out, and M Short is just on the back. Honestly, it's going to be blink and you miss it, I think. If M Short's reaction times are as quick as Montana, both of them will be in the pit lane on the same lap. I will guarantee you that now, because M Short is right on the back. We lose the interval time, he's just off to the left-hand side, but now M Short is only 4 tenths away off the back of Montana, and this Swiss man is now under sustained pressure out on track, and even more so, because Montana has got a 5-second penalty. M Short has got absolute diddly squat out on track. Nothing whatsoever. Montana leading the way. M Short in second, Campbell in third, and these two, I should say, pulling away massively from Campbell in behind. Daniel there in fourth position as Name Changer and Hardy begin to battle. There's nothing really happening further down the field either. Bullen, I think, came into the pit lane once again after his spin, 18.5 seconds behind Kuka Games, but now M Short trying to get onto the back. He's conserving up his ERS this time around. He's got about 60% of that left. Montana's got about 41% of that left. So about 15-16% inferior for M Short, as again, Montana begins to stay out. It's getting to the point, I think, is Montana going to try and last these tyres out to over 20 laps and come in for a set of softs?
I don't see those tyres making it. I think M Short is in the perfect position to stay out a little bit longer, and they'll be able to go into the softs to the end. Montana hasn't got that. 17 laps is normally when you would see the pit window opening if you're starting on a set of mediums, or just a little bit before that actually, but these can go around about 17 laps before you get into puncture territory, so Montana's really pushing it. The sky's getting a little bit darker overhead, so that will help the mediums with lower temperatures, I guess. Won't be putting as much wear onto them, but M Short has already got such a great advantage against him at this moment in time. 4 tenths of the gap. He's had a bad run for the chicane, just beginning the third sector now. You can see he's losing a lot of time, I'm sure, behind Montana, but of course 5 seconds coming to Montana once he comes into the pit lane. It's going to put him short in a really, really good position. I'd expect Montana to pit this lap, but we'll just have to see what he does, as he's not utilising his ERS, which you completely regain everything coming into the pit lane. Is he going to go straight on? He's going to keep going for one more lap here. As M Short, he can sense an opportunity. He smells blood in the water. Is he going to try for a move? No. Into turn number 1. He backs out at the very last second. He doesn't need this. He knows that
Daniel down the inside of Campbell, trying to get the move done in towards turn 1. Can he try and get the move done? Campbell fights him out wide through turn 2, but Campbell is still there, and Daniel is still there. Who's going to have to run off towards turn 3? Daniel just about, but Campbell on his end-plate damage, I think. Or was that the hand waving there? Possibly from the driver. Not sure if Campbell had picked up a little bit, Daniel had picked up a little bit of damage. I'll tell you what though, these clouds have came over so quick. I thought I saw a little bit of spit of rain there on the camera, to be honest, but Montana leading the way. M Short has got to react to, I think, to Montana to come into the pit lane. If he doesn't, I think he'll lose this race. It's as simple as that.
I think he can. No, I'm sticking with my guts here. I think M Short is going to extend to go to the softs. Montana's got that 5-second time penalty. He won't lose too much out of all this, M Short. Montana's drained up a lot of his ERS, so he's going to be coming in, I'd expect. As, no. He's still staying out. He's pushing for the softie. Daniel gets back past Campbell. And now Campbell's actually lost out to Name Changer as well, so he's just tucking back into the train. And Name Changer just picked up a 3-second time penalty, which is going to add to his woes. So Montana's so close to actually being in the range for a puncture. He's risking everything, really, isn't he? It's a win or a DNF, I think, for him.
It is a win or a DNF, but I think Montana, honestly, has got to try and get these sides towards the end, because they're only going to last about 7 or 8 laps around here in Canada, those set of softs. So he's going to have to try and extend this out. Honestly, if I was in M Short position, I would pit in with Montana, because you've got 6.3 seconds to his teammate, Daniel, in third. He's over in terms of the championship, ahead in terms of Daniel, as Daniel now picks up a 3-second time penalty, which is even better news for M Short out on track. As now Hardy, now on the back of QVR Campbell, as QVR Verstappen picks up a penalty. Hardy now down the inside, gets the move done on Campbell. I honestly think Campbell has got damage on that car. He cannot have dropped that many positions in just as many laps. He's down to 6th. He was 1 second as M Montana and M Short stay out at least another lap, as I would imagine both of them are going to have to try and come into the pit lane. Surely.
Yeah, M Short's not going to let him get the undercut. I thought Montana wasn't going to make it this far.
Oh, Connor's out! Connor's out of the World Championship K, and he spun it on the outside corner. It's raining! It's just starting to rain out on track as well! It is beginning to rain out on track! Goodness me, I did say that Jensen Button will be very happy with this. Orlando would be very happy with this. He's out the race now, and look where Rocco is. Look where Kuka Games is. What on earth is this going to do? VSC deployed, Rain now deployed out on track, and Rocco goes for the Inters. Is he absolutely mad in going for the Inters now? But I think he's preempted what's going to happen in the final couple of laps of this race. Rocco, Kuka Games and the likes could be very, very quick indeed towards the end.
I think it's a bit too early for the intermediates, but Boland's going to try as well. These guys are in positions where they're realistically not going to get higher than they are. So may well go for the tyres, see how they feel. As the VSC's still out here, and there it is, now it's back in. And I think this should be, no, they're going to stay out. I don't think they're going to commit to the intermediates yet. But with these cooler temperatures, you could probably take the tyres a little bit longer than you would have liked to. DRS will probably be disabled in the next couple of laps, so.
All I'm going to say is Rocco was just caught a second on Kazizel. That's all I'll say. He is catching on Kazizel, and Kazizel's on a set of mediums. 25.6 seconds. Verstappen is into the pit lane. He will go onto a set of inters. Rocco is just trying to troop his way around. To be honest, it's almost that period, I think, between the mediums and the inters, to be honest, out on track, or the dry and the wet compounded tyre essentially out on track as now Montana leads the way. 7 laps to go. I think, honestly, this is going to be the point where anybody that comes in for a set of inters, they're going to be quick, as we see a yellow flag in Sector 2. I'm not sure who that was. I think it might have been Neo, perhaps?
I think it was Bolin getting out of the way of the lap, of the cars that were lapping them.
Yeah, you're right. And Rocco, 15.1 seconds off the back of Verstappen. Bolin, I think, getting out of the way once again. M Short then on the back. Montana under pressure. The rain's coming down a lot heavier now. Montana's in. Montana is into the pit lane. How costly is that going to be? Has he timed this to absolute perfection in terms of coming into the pit lane? Or is M Short going to gamble and be quicker on this set of tyres? Now M Short has got to treat this as a qualifying lap. He has got to put in as quick as possible out on this track, try and gain every inch of ground to try and combat Montana. Montana then is about to come out of his pit box, and he will rejoin in clear air. But the important gap when he comes out the pit lane is more than 22.5 seconds, 23 seconds coming out the pit lane for Montana. And Montana now, has he committed the lap too early? M Short is already around halfway through the lap. If the inters of the DRS was to be disabled now, I think M Short would be actually in the prime spot rather than Montana, if I've got to be honest.
Montana's not gaining that much on Kazizel, and in fact he might be losing a bit of time, and you can see how he's just sliding out of the exits of the corners. I don't think it was the right call to pit on that very lap. I think now probably we'll start to see the intermediates come into effect, and as I say that, DRS has been disabled, and that should be the calling card for the drivers to come into the pit lane. M Short's in, and I'd expect D. Daniel, Name Changer and Harley to do the same.
M Short is 21.4 seconds ahead of Montana. I'm pretty certain a pit stop around here is around 21 or 22 seconds. This is going to be close coming out the pit lane. M Short is released out of his pit box. Montana is only coming down into the final corner now. But look at Zhao Zhao as well in front of him. Or sorry, I should say, yeah, he's going to come out. M Short's going to be in the lead of the race. M Short, with that extra lap, is miles ahead of Montana. That is absolutely brilliant from the XL man. And Montana is now left quaking in his boots. M Short, with 5.5 laps to go, the championship leader, the joint championship leader coming in tonight, is going to have the championship lead. He's going to have his second win this season. Oh my goodness me. Are we in for an absolute thriller of a race? Montana, though, is the king of the intermediates, and now he's going to have to try and close in on M Short. M Short has got to throw everything in this race, as has Montana.
Montana is one warning away from getting a 3-second time penalty. M Short has got that little bit of a buffer in that regard. He's only got in this Grand Prix, so I don't think it is too bad for M Short at this point. If even if Montana begins to catch up, as you say, he is supreme in the wet conditions.
Just realised Montana has served his 5-second stop goal, remember? He served that coming into the plate, and just seen some comments that reminded me, so that's why M Short is in a clearer lead. Otherwise, if he didn't have that 5-second penalty, M Short would be 6/10 behind him.
Yeah, so I think Montana got penalty, 3 seconds!
3-second penalty for Montana!
Oh no. And if you finish the race, you're getting points now because Bolland's he's just retired into the pit lane. He sped into the pit lane there. That's his race over. So if you finish this race, you're getting points. So I'd hope no one else retires in this one at least.
I really hope no one else retires because it is going to have a bit of a bad look, I think, having 8 DNFs out on track already. And even more possibly to come. Yellow flag in Sector 1, I think, is Bolland. Rocco's just picked up a 3-second time. I think it's another one for him out on track. But goodness me, M Short is getting closed down by Montana. Montana is 4.1 seconds away out on track. Daniel there in third. There's Name Changer in fourth. Name Changer, by the way, just thought I'd pick up on this. He started in 20th position, and he's now up in the 4th. How on earth has he done that?
He's done that by the sheer power of friendship and love. Well done, Name Changer. Safety car did help him a little bit in that one. I'm pretty sure he just pitted as soon as it came out, and that completely changed up his entire race. Despite M Short having the big gap at the moment, he's still losing time to Montana. I don't think it'll be enough, but Montana could still try and take it on circuit, and we still could see a nice fight for the lead, but intermediate conditions at the end of the race, where we really want to see everything climax, is it kind of does dampen our spirits, if you could say here, because racing's a lot harder under the wet conditions, as you're making more mistakes, and the gaps do tend to spread up, as we've seen between the top 3. They're separated by quite some margin, about 6.6 seconds separating the top from M Short to D Daniel, which is not what we'd seen before in this race. So realistically, the only chance of a battle we could see in this Grand Prix is probably between Hardy and Name Changer and Neo and Kazizov.
Neo, though, has just picked up a 3-second time penalty out on track. I think it's his first one of the night as well. He has just picked up. So that battle that you've just alluded to literally has just been ended right on the spot as soon as you said that, to be honest. But M Short leads the way. 3.5 laps to go. The Brit, the master possibly of the Inters here tonight, is 3.5 seconds clear. But if a 3-second time penalty pops up for M Short and Montana continues again, Montana might take this one out on track. M Short has got to be super careful not to overrun it over a curb. And look at the gap continuing to come down. M Short's being too cautious, I think, now. 3.1 seconds. Just try and pick up the pace a little bit, because you do not want to pick up a 3-second time penalty around here, because it will inevitably cost you. And Montana, if he dips under 3 seconds and M Short picks up a penalty, then it's Montana's to lose, really.
Yeah, well, at this point, I still think M Short, even if he does get a 3-second time penalty, it's not going to affect him at all, because realistically, with only 2 laps to go, about 2.5 laps to go in this race, I doubt Montana will catch up to really be on the back of M Short and then actually go for an overtake. It's one thing to catch up to a driver, it's a whole other ball game to really overtake. You can still see struggling in conditions, and if needed for M Short, he's still got more ERS than Montana. It's a lot easier to save under the wet conditions, of course, but he's allowed to use that on the straight whenever he wants, and he's using it now just to break away a little bit on the straightaway. Montana immediately responds by activating his as well.
Yeah, 30% of ERS for them both, pretty much. So M Short's got about 5% more than Montana at this stage. Now comes across the line to start what will be the penultimate lap of the race, and M Short leading the way. 2.6 seconds is the gap. That gap is being eaten into. Every single advantage now comes down. Neil, by the way, is catching Kazizel. Both with the DRS disabled, of course, with giving the wet conditions. Now Neil has got to press on Kazizel, running down in towards turn 1. There's the faintest bit of blue sky just up into the top middle of your screen. There's the faintest bit of blue sky, but it's been clouded over, of course, by the clouds out on track. And Neo now right on the back of Cazzizzle. 4 through turn 1, through turn 2, and then through turn 3. As now Neo runs up towards 4, and then 5. As he now comes through towards 4 and 5, and then through turn 6, which is coming up, and then through the Pont de la Concorde at turn 7. Out of the Place de la Concorde, I should say. Or was that Paris that I'm thinking of? I need to consult my track map. Give us a second. Pont de la Concorde. I got it right first time. I said Place de la Concorde. Goodness me. Anyways.
All these Montreal French names, they're too hard to read sometimes. But at this point, M. Short, he's about to begin his final lap of the race. Montana did all he could, and at least he's finally starting to get his season going. He had a very big moment with his NSX compatriot of Connor last week in Britain, where they made contact, and that I think Montana was running in around about 2nd or 3rd at that time, so a podium was on the horizon, a potential win, but contact between the pair of them completely nullified any chance of that, so at least he's getting on the podium. This is a start for Montana, and I definitely think over the next couple of weeks we'll start to see the former self of him winning races left, right and centre like he did last season.
We should see the dominance, I think, come back. I tell you what, M. Short, though, 1.5 seconds away. If we had another few laps, I think Montana would reel him in within the next 3 or 4 laps at this point. It is the final lap of the race, though, so we're not going to get to that point. M. Short and Montana, 1.3 seconds a gap. It is coming down to the absolute wire, and Montana is still continuing to catch. As I say, 1 3-second time, but he can swing it either way. If M. Short was to pick up a penalty down in towards the World Champion chicane, then it's game over. It's as simple as that. He will win out on track, but Montana will also have that 3-second penalty as now M. Short comes down for the final time in toward the Wall of Champion chicane. Can he do it? Can he pick up a 3-second time penalty? No, he hasn't. Round the final quarter, M. Short is going to be a 2-time winner here. M. Short across the line to win in Canada. Montana finishes in 2nd. D. Daniel to come across the line in 3rd. I think Hardy will gain on name changer with name changer's 9 seconds worth of penalty. The rain really coming down late on. Name changer will finish 4th. Hardy, though, will finish 4th in the meantime. Campbell, Verstappen and Zhao Zhao. Could I drag Verstappen to the line? Very close indeed. He had a 3-second extra penalty in the end. Neo jumps up into 8th and all of that. So Campbell 6th, Verstappen 7th, Neo, Cazzizzle, Zhao Zhao, and then Rocco and Kuka Games 11th and 12th position. Got to commend Kuka Games, by the way, for finishing this race. He was down well at the back of the field, was behind Bolin before he crashed. And now Rocco comes across the line to finish in 11th, and Kuka Games across the line to finish in 12th, and to absolutely smash his front wing out off the pit wall there as they come across the line for the final time. But great race out on track. Driver of the day, arguably, SHZ_name changer. Not a bad race from him at all, as we now see the podium celebrations, and he does the Egyptian at the top step of the standings once again for the 2nd week in a row. Marcus has won. M. Short wins in Canada.
Yeah, well, if the M. Short household was going crazy last week, I think that might have been doubled here, because now it is 2 weeks in a row, and I'd reckon they'd all be very proud of him. Who is stopping this man? Well, maybe the driver right next to him on that step, Michael Schumacher for some reason, but that is, of course, Montana, who got so close to him in the end, but it just was not enough. And that 5-second time penalty for the original speeding in the pit lane really was his Achilles heel, because he had the pace to win this race, but unfortunately just did not unfold that way for him. So M. Short winning this race, Montana in 3rd, and D. Daniel managing to take a podium in 3rd.
Montana in 3rd, you said there. Montana in 2nd, I'll correct you on that.
D. Daniel was in 3rd.
Yeah, D. Daniel in 3rd. M. Short wins, as I say. Montana in 2nd, D. Daniel in 3rd. Hardy in 4th. Name change all the way from 20th up to 5th in the end. Campbell in 6th, Verstappen 7th. Neo, Cazzizzle, then Zhao Zhao rounding off the top 10. Kuka Games and then Rocco rounding off the top 12. They all pick up points. Bolin, Connor, Lando, who had the fastest lap, doesn't pick up that point, I don't think. Toxic, Yelt, Jasasas and the rest further down the field, not finishing the race. Shall we try and get M. Short in for the 2nd week in a row?
I think we can. We could probably just invite him in the other party, but I think actually leaving this party will mean the stream will end, so I'll just invite him into here. Do we try and get Montana and D. Daniel in as well?
No, we'll just interview the top man.
Alright, I'll get that invite too.
as Dan does that, of course, next week from Canada, I will get up the calendar. That's the word I'm looking for. Give me a second. I'll just get it up in just a second. And next week in Division 1, we go from Canada to Russia. We go to the Sochi Autodrome in Russia, so I'll have to practice my Russian, I think, for that. And no, before anybody asks, I'm not putting the word comrades in the commentary at all.
I will.
Dan might.
I'll try and drop it in there at some point because why the hell not? We like to have fun here in League of Europe on a Saturday night.
We don't want to get We don't want to get censored though by our Russian friends. That's the thing.
I think he'd be kind to us because we're going to a circuit, of course.
I hope so. But yeah, Matt Kazizzle just coming in there with a comment in Discord saying it was madness. Yelt apparently had wheel issues. That's why he retired out on track very early on. And looking as well, Yelt retired. Yeah, Yelt retired. The safety car came out. Or the safety car comes out and then he retires. But apparently he did have wheel issues, according to Montana, who's obviously been in the same party as him there. We are just waiting for our main man to come into our party. I haven't heard a ting in my ear to see that he has joined. But I'll come to you, Dan. Who was your driver of the day?
My driver of the day? That's actually a really, really tough one. I'd say I'm not going to go with M Short for this one because I think despite the fact he drove really well, I think luck definitely did help him today. I'm going to go with Hardy as my driver of the day. Actually, he was in a really bad position last week, but you know what? He's really proved himself today, and he managed to pick up 4th as well.
Yeah, typical that 2XL drivers, by the way, do not pick up any penalties around this track as well. In the end, M Short, of course, and Hardy not picking up any penalties. I have to concur, to be honest. I think Hardy drove a really solid race tonight. I'm beginning to see, I think, maybe him push forward into next season already. I think he could be a contender for then, of course, possibly going on to the new game for F1 20, or the next season of F1 on there, or we could just have a short season to end off on this game, depending on when that new game, of course, is going to come out. We are just waiting for M Short to join us in the commentary box. Hopefully, he will be joining us very soon. Is he here?
He's here, yeah.
Am I just chatting over? Is he? I didn't hear him join. M Short is here. Goodness me. Commentator's going deaf.
Brilliant.
Commentator is honestly going deaf. I did not get a notification in my ear, but M Short is here, the winner here in Canada. Talk us through that race because it's your second win of the season.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it? Yeah, I was pretty annoyed in qualifying because although P5 was still decent, I completely messed up my laps. Like I was 3 temps up on my final lap and then completely messed up the last chicane. But yeah, got past Connor at the start, which was pretty crucial. And then I saw the others had pitted early because they were obviously hoping the rain did come. And I was thinking, because it said rain like right at the end, so I wasn't sure if it was actually going to come or not. So I just did the normal strategy, and then it played perfectly for me getting that safety car because I was pitting that lap anyway. And then yeah, I had the better pace over Campbell because I had like 5 lap pressure tyres or something, and then just had to stick with Montana. No point going for a move with his 5-second penalty. And then yeah, in the rain, I could see him closing, but once he got that penalty, I just knew I'm not taking any risks, so I let him catch and just took it safe.
Yeah, and you took it safe. It got to the point, I think it was, 1.1 seconds away from the race win towards the end. You obviously had that race under control, but just talk us through that safety car period, because we were honestly thinking that you were going to come in, or I was thinking you were going to come in then, but what made you come into the pit then? Was it the rain that made you come in when you did?
So when was this?
For the last pit stop that you made, was it the rain that triggered that last pit stop? Otherwise, you would have went to the end.
Yeah, my tyres could have gone to the end from there if the rain wasn't strong enough. But like Montana and Campbell's couldn't, so I sort of covered myself off with that one. but I did have to pit in the end because even after just like 1 or 2 laps of rain, it was already too much for the dries. So yeah, I just had to pit, or I would have been too slow on those mediums in the wet.
Yeah, Dan, any questions?
Well, I guess I've got to ask about Russia. How are you feeling around that circuit? Do you think you could have another win around there?
Hopefully, that wouldn't be too bad, 3 in a row. But no, yeah, I've just got to practice hard for that one again, and then hopefully manage to have a similar outcome there.
And just lastly from me, with an eye to the future, if there was one circuit in the calendar that we're going to head to in the next couple of rounds, where do you say you'd be most confident?
I'm not really sure. I can't really think of what's coming up lately, but I know there is a patch in the middle that isn't looking too good for me. It's like China, Bahrain, Monaco, stuff like that.
Oh,
so yeah, I've just got to get through those ones, and yeah, I can't really think what are the tracks I'm really looking forward to. But yeah.
Yeah, well, that's all from me. Well done for tonight, and hopefully we can see some more results like that from you in the future.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that is it from me as well. So go and enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Very welcome. And that, of course, M. Short there in the winning spot here in Canada, and it's going to be fantastic to see how this is all going to unfold, of course, going into Russia. I forgot to mention as well, he is the championship leader going into next week as well. It's a very loud car going up my road. I'm not sure if you heard that in the background. You heard that? That was so loud. It's one of those like turbo boosting cars. It's probably M. Short driving past my house. That's what that was. But anyways, thank you so much for tuning in to Division 1. Division 2 and Division 5 are just around the corner. 10 minutes you've got to wait until Daniel Hoggard and Aidan Carter take you through Division 2. And then for Division 5 is the commentator who I thought was Alt Maverick last week, but it wasn't. So I don't know who's doing Division 5. If somebody could inform me for next week, that would be fantastic. But, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Well done to M. Short. Well done to our top 3 as well. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Please stay safe in this crazy world we all live in. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in. I've been James Head. He's been Daniel Field. Please take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next week.